Right here.
Over here.
I'd like to know why in this country we don't dig, drill for more oil. In the country itself, we have plenty of it. We got oil, gas, coal. Why don't we, if we get our own oil for ourselves instead of going over to the Mideast?
We have about 80 million barrels a day that are produced worldwide. Part of why you're seeing the spiking in the gas prices is not so much that Libya specific is having civil unrest or civil war. They're only 1/2 of 1% of the total production. The problem is that there is instability in that region, and that region produces the majority of oil for the world. If we were able, the best way that we could reduce prices is to increase production. This is going to be a central debate in the next 2 months of this Congress. And we've got to come to grips with, we either will continue to be dependent on foreign oil, or we've got to find oil, gas, wind and solar in our own country. And it's a very simple question as far as I see it. If we no longer want to be dependent, we have to be able to find the resources in the 48 continental United States and offshore. We've got to make a decision as a nation whether that's the energy policy that we want to have, or do we want to continue to see, anytime there's a disruption in the Middle East, oil spiking to $106 a barrel. Now think about the cost of oil and the cost of gas and how it affects you as an individual and how it affects your family. And then think about how it affects the New Hampshire Food Bank in delivering food to the neediest in our state, 90,000 people, and what the cost is to deliver that food to those individuals. Think about the cost to send our kids to school each and every day, the fuel costs when we bus our kids to and from school, and how we have to pay for that. Think about how it affects food prices and the cost of food to get from one place to the other. Then you go to the grocery store and you see spikes in that. That's because of fuel costs are going up each and every day. So I think we've got to make a decision as a nation. I don't think we've had a sustainable energy policy in this country. The idea of the Department of Energy was to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. We've gone in the wrong direction, and we've got to make a decision, and we should make a decision to utilize our natural resources. I support that. I think it's one of the best ways that we can become independent fiscally, as well as not having to focus so much of our energy on what's going on in the Middle East. But we've got to get serious as a nation. I think there is a will to do this.
Would you say that starts at the top?
Well, yes, it does. I mean, right now, I mean, honestly.
The president doesn't seem to plan on it. He's going to Brazil down there. We're going to spend money down there to drill oil and get permission for them to drill oil.
Well, right now, we don't, right now we've had one
Gulf Coast down in that area, they're all out of work. And he says he's looking for jobs. Excuse me.
Sure.
I get excited.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead.
Are you going to vote to fund Brazil?
Let me finish this question first. So, we've issued one permit since the spill. And look, the spill was a devastating occurrence. I think we all agree with that. We absolutely all agree with that. We want to make sure that that type of spill is prevented and it never happens again. So there are responsibilities that the country has to take as well as the oil producers. But we cannot sustain the cost of oil and gas as it stands today. And right now, it's going nowhere but up. And we're likely to see $4 a gallon within the next 60 to 90 days, and it's just unacceptable. So we do have to open up. We have to have an above all energy policy. We've got to be able to tap into the natural gas between New York and Tennessee. We've got to be able to tap into the oil that we know is onshore and offshore. And I support that because I think it's in the right, it's in the best interest of the taxpayer and the consumer in our country. And it finally would send a message that we are not reliant on the Middle East, that we are going to be self-sufficient.
How much of a priority is that?
Next question is from...
It's related to this though, okay? How much of a priority is that in Congress to make sure that we open up the properties just on land if you don't want to go to the ocean? We have excellent reserves in Alaska and in the Dakotas and Montana, okay, where we can be self-sustaining. How much of a priority, even if it's in national parks? We know we have the expertise and the technology to go in there and not disrupt the environment to the adverse effects. It's impacting every one of us. You mentioned everything that it's impacting. Our money, our income is not going up. Our taxes aren't going down on property or otherwise. And that's what financial crisis.
That's enough of this. Stop. We were told it was, we wrote our questions on the board. Can we just stick with that, please?
Right.
It's not fair to other people.
I appreciate we have a lot of people here. I'll allow the lady to finish her statement because it was...
It's a filibuster. Can I rebut the statement? We had 8 years of oilmen in the Oval Office. For heaven's sakes, lady, you know, you had your shot.
Well,
the oil isn't there.
I would ask if we could all...
I'm just doing what she did.
I'd ask if we could all be respectful of one another.
Trying.
This is a forum for all of us.
I apologize for interrupting, okay, and I can see the floor, but it was just that I feel like you were hedging somewhat. And we need to know where it's...
Oh, no, okay.
We're going to go on to the next question.
Let me just be more specific. I'm disappointed that we don't have an energy policy that reflects the needs of the country. I think absolutely that we need to be going after our oil and our gas, and we're not doing it. There is, and you asked, is there the will? There's the will in the House. I can't tell you if there is the will in the Senate, and I don't know the position right now of the President, other than what he has already put in place, which is essentially no drilling for oil anywhere, with the exception of one new permit, and he has not allowed for us to, with the fracking regulations, to find the natural gas that's between New York and Tennessee. So if your question is there a will? For some of us, yes. But I don't think that will exist with the Senate or the presidency at this point.
Next question is from Leonard from Exeter, and he